it was an unforgettable experience witnessing the University of Aleppo explosion in January 2013, where at least 82 people were killed. Several of them were friends of mine. I had just graduated from the University of Aleppo with a major in business administration. I was also employed as a full-time violin teacher at the Arabic Institute of Music. I was at the university trying to collect my diploma, and I did not know how I survived on that day. I can still hear in my ears the sounds of the ambulance and the scream of moms. Later on that day, I remember walking to the Music Institute to teach, not knowing if I would make it back home in the evening, as mortars were falling everywhere randomly. My students and I would regularly hide under the table when we heard the airstrike and the missiles hitting a close neighborhood. Every day, we risked our lives by being there. Aleppo used to be a very beautiful and peaceful city, filled with culture and history. It's one of the oldest cities in the world. But after more than 5 years of war, I can no longer recognize my home. Part of me still believes this is all just a dream. I'm finding it very difficult to accept that my country is now in ruins. All my life, I have had a great passion for violin. I would risk my life to keep the music alive in Aleppo. It was my only way to express my pain and sorrow at what was happening around me. I still believe that we can create beauty through pain. But that day, when I went to the university to collect my diploma, was the day I realized that I needed to leave inevitably. Death did not scare me, but watching my dreams fading away did. In the following weeks, I was running under bombs and mortars falling to internet cafes due to the huge lack of electricity and power in my home. I was determined to send my applications to different programs at universities all over the world. And after 6 months of tireless work, I was beyond happy to receive an email from Monmouth College offering me a full tuition scholarship. Even with such a huge scholarship, it did not cover room and board, which was going to be a great burden because of the huge difference in currency between Syria and the US. In addition, my family had lost their jobs in the war, and they could not support me with even $1. I searched online for answers, hoping for a miracle to happen. I found about an organization, Jusur, that was helping Syrian students and refugees. I went to their website and I started to learn about their donors, searching each name. One of them was a very kind man from Saudi Arabia, Hussam Shobakshi. I emailed him explaining my story and asking for help. He expressed that he only supported Arab students who wanted to study abroad in the field of science. But he was very impressed with the violin videos I shared with him from my previous recitals. Something in that music must have touched him. I'm Christian, he's Muslim, and he only sponsored students pursuing science. But music has no boundaries. In a departure from his usual plan, he decided to support me for the first year. He touched me so much with his kindness. And he made me believe more in our humanity, as he believed in me without even knowing me in person. To get to my new college in the US, however, first I had to travel to Beirut to catch a flight to Florida. All the roads from and to Aleppo were closed. We were advised to go an area in Aleppo where buses gather to pick up passengers, but it would be at our own risk, as these buses are not affiliated with any company. I had to say yes because my flight ticket had already been booked, and I did not know if I would ever get a second chance. The journey took us 17 hours. Normal days, it's no more than 7 or 8. Over than 50 checkpoints along the way. The bus driver got lost, and we were incredibly scared. We have been left in an area where I couldn't see anything apart from destroyed building. At many checkpoints, they thought the violin case was a gun, and I had to prove it was not. They would make me to open the violin case, pick it up, and inspect it. A couple of days after I arrived to the US, I found out that 3 buses had been bombed, and people I know were killed, including my doctor from Aleppo. My violin and I made it safely to the US. My time at Monmouth College was one of the best experiences of my life. The liberal arts school and the Monmouth community opened their arms and hearts to welcome 19 Syrian students. They offered us not only a great education, but a warm and safe home. It was life-changing for each one of us. It's now 3 years later, and although I feel safe here, I live in a constant fear about my family and friends who are still struggling and surviving without the basic necessities of life in Aleppo, such as water, electricity, and heat. Last November, our neighbor across the street, a girl of 17-year-old, was killed by mortars falling. An hour before that, she had phoned my mom, inviting her to come over for visit and coffee. My mom had been asleep, and she could not pick up. She was saved by a miracle. Every day, my father has to go to the adjacent neighborhoods in search of wells to get water. And every day, I wonder if they will be alive tomorrow, and if I will ever get the chance to be reunited with them one day. Death is so close, and sometimes I feel that my violin has saved my life. Being a refugee taught me to be strong, independent, and among all, to never give up. I thought that coming to the US was my dream. When I arrived, I realized that the dream was just beginning. I feel I have an obligation to do all my best to give something back to all the people who supported me. I graduated from Monmouth College in 2015, and I received another scholarship for the Master of Music Performance at DePaul University. Unable to return back home, I was granted asylum in the US, and I recently received my green card. My mom, however, is still waiting for her visa to come visit me here, and I have no idea if this will ever happen. Meanwhile, I'm so grateful to have received so many opportunities to speak and perform on behalf of the Syrian students and refugees, such as the Kennedy Center, United Nations, Aspen Ideas Festival, among many other venues. I was humbled to be honored at the White House as Champion of Change by President Obama. I feel this is a huge responsibility, and I would like to be an ambassador for my country, Syria, in the US, and conversely, to represent all the great values I learned here worldwide. I'm very proud to call America my home now, and today I consider myself as not just a Syrian citizen, but also new, loyal, and devoted young American woman. The United States has always been the haven for millions of refugees. We need to remember that refugees are not a burden, but displaced people who are desperate to find an opportunity, a second chance. We need to include them and not to exclude. I'm so proud of my fellow Syrian students who also arrived here via scholarships. They graduated last year, and they received some wonderful job opportunities, such as Google and Apple. In fact, in Syria, we have many talented people, but sadly, life now is rather impossible for them, as they experience death and horror. Syria needs help more than any time ago. We need to hear the sound of music, not the guns. I feel powerless to change the current tragedy ongoing in my country. However, I believe so much in the power of music to remove barriers between people and nation. It's the bridge that has brought me to this country. We all know music is a universal language. Through music, we communicate, advocate, inspire, and express the things which are hard to be expressed by any word or language. I shall keep performing to tell the story of my suffering country and people. And may music one day help healing the pain our world has felt and create peace platform for everyone. Today, I would love to share with you one of my favorite pieces of music, a theme from Schindler's List by John Williams. This expressive piece commemorates the tragedy of the Holocaust. It reminds us of our humanity and moves us to take action. I'm Christian. I'm very delighted to share with you a Jewish theme. And maybe there is a Muslim community listening out there somewhere tonight. This is the great thing about music. It makes us to think of our common points and moves us toward building the beautiful life we all deserve. This will be my prayer for a world that prevails peace, love, and unity. Thank you.